Hey guys and girls, in this video I'm going to go over the Silhouette Studio setup for the CAMEO 4.3 version. Um, okay. Hey, what's up bosses? In this video I am going to go over the setup for the CAMEO Silhouette 4 Plus. This is the business edition, and you can also use this for any of the cameos. There'll be a few changes going on, but I'm just going to show you guys how when you open it up. So right now I've got this ugly white space, and I really want to personalize this thing, and I like to make it my own. So there is a little button here down in the corner, a little settings button. You just click on that and open it up. Select your language, and I'm going to select English, and then you can select where you want to save your designs. Do you want to save it on your hard drive or in your library? Now, the library is really cool to save it in the cloud, and most people choose to save in the library. But me, I like to save on my hard drive, so I'm going to leave mine set to the default for my hard drive. Sometimes the online thing is a little bit slow in my opinion. You can set your units of measurements, and since I'm in the US, I'll leave mine in inches. Some people like to set it in centimeters, but most set it in inches. Now where it says show dimension, I'm going to show you guys here. If I was to go over here and type something, this would be whether it would show the dimension or not. So I'm just going to turn that on, and then I'm going to leave print resolution at 300 dpi. 300 dpi is more than enough to do little things that you do with the Silhouette. So we're going to go here and just let me just type in something to show you as I go through. So with these settings, and I'll go in and show you how to use all of this, but I'm going to just do this really quick. Okay, so you see how around on the edges, this tells you this is 1.6 by 13.26. That is what this button is showing you. So if you didn't want that, I'm going to click it again. Now I don't have that. So more experienced people don't really need it. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on for the purpose of the video and leave that at 300. Now, this white space is really ugly and it's just too much white. So we're going to change that also. Your orientation, I'm just going to leave this on portrait, and that just shows you the arrow going straight up because that's the way that you would normally put your silhouette in. And you can also do landscape, but I'm going to leave it on portrait. And then your blade, whether you want to use the ratchet blade or whether you want to use your auto blade. Most people are going to be using the auto blade. Leave it on the one that you're going to be using the most. So for me, it's going to be the auto blade. Then next you have your default field style. So whether you want your fonts to come out already filled in a color or not. And if I take that off, let's see here. If I hit on outline only, we'll just show you and come over here and type another set of letters. Then it will give you a traditional plotter look where you would just have whatever lettering in an outline. So this would be, and then this one is, outline. You can always go in and add color to the job afterwards. So it's basically up to you what you want to do with that. And I'm going to go back over here. And so I've got this set for mines with black and red. And you can change that. And that will change up here on what colors you want. So black would be what my standard colors would look like, and then this would be, the outline would be red. Okay, moving on along, you've got, do you want to display your mat all the time or no? I prefer to display my mat, and I also want, so you turn you could turn off the mat or you can leave the mat on. I want to be able to cut to the edge of my page. I'm going to leave that on. And whether you want your registration marks to show all of the time. And these are the registration marks right here. Registration marks are only needed pretty much if you're doing cut and print stuff, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to leave my registration marks on, and I can always go in and manually, excuse me, I'm still getting over the flu. I can always go and turn my registration marks off, but by default, because of the type of work that I'm going to be using my silhouette for, I'm just going to leave mine on. And then rotation of center, whether you want that on. Flexible panel here refers to these panels. When you're going in, you see how the panels are coming in one by one. Or you could do a single panel. Let me hit OK. So this would be a single panel. And then we've got the flexible panels. Come back over here and go into a single panel mode. This is flexible panel mode. And flexible panel mode, it's not a whole lot of difference. It's not a whole lot of difference. So, you could just leave that on whatever you want it. I'm not going to I don't mess with any of this. Let's go over to display. Now this is what I like to really go in and change. The current theme right now is light, and the background color is light. So let's say if I was to change this background to a gray and hit OK, that will give you, you want some type of contrast here. So that will give us a nice background color. So you go decide what you want your background color to be and change that. Now I like a darker background, so that works for me. And you can change yours to whatever you want. I'll show you the other one. Current theme, dark. Let's make everything dark. So that is the dark theme. And I kind of like that. So I'll leave that on the dark theme for now. Well, I don't like the dark theme when I go in and I look at my stuff. So I'll change that back. Okay. And we'll leave it there for now, and then I may change it later. So that's the dark thing. And then you've got your button sizes. What sizes do you want the buttons? If you want them, right now they're really, really large. So you can turn the button size down. You can make them bigger, higher, however you want it to be. And then you've got curve quality. What type of curve do you want? You want, and that's talking about as far as making the curve. We've got import. And so when you import a GSD file, do you want the file to import as centered, as is, or to fit on the page? I just leave this alone and leave this as is and this as centered. And then it'll come in with the cut all up by default to cut all of the SVGs, because your SVG is going to be your outline design, so you want that to come in. Your vector artwork, you want it to come in with cut all by default. Okay, and then you can go in if it's something in that design that you don't want to cut all of it and you want to just cut the edges, you can go in and change that, but you normally want to cut it all by default. Then we've got tools, and straight out the box, I'm going to pretty much leave this stuff the way it is, and you can go in and you can change this to fit what you want. On updates, I change these updates over and make that a monthly update, and I like to include the beta updates. And then all of this here, I just leave this alone. I'm going to hit apply and hit OK. And now I am out of the settings. So we've set up our workspace. And the next thing that we're going to do is come over here to the corner. And this is my page. And I'm going to set up my page for my silhouette. So you're going to find out what your machine is. And in this version, you can do CAMEO Auto, CAMEO Silhouette, CAMEO Plus. I'm going to do CAMEO Plus. And then by default, it's set on letter size. And I changed this to what I want my media size to be. And the media size is this here, on what you want that to be. And I'm going to always want mine to be the max that I can have. Now watch when I do this. You see when I put in a 15-inch wide mat, it only takes it to 14.6 because even though the machine is a 15-inch machine that takes, well, a machine that takes in 15-inch vinyl, it will actually only cut this 14.6. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to leave that at 12 and change this orientation back here. I like to keep my, if you hit this zoom, that'll make your mat bigger or smaller just for you to be able to see. And then you've got some rotations here, and you've got whether you want to show your print border, which is when you're printing like something from your printer and then you're going to do a print and cut. Always take that off, and then on the show border you can leave that on. This is good to know to see when you're cutting something, because like with this design, this would be the cut border, and then I'm out of, out of the design. Or if I was something like this, I know that, hey, that's going to cut that boss off. So that helps, and we can go in and we can change this back here also. So you want to print your bleed, you can print the bleed, or you cannot print the bleed. We're going to leave that off. Okay, one thing that a lot of people who are new to Silhouette would like to use is going to probably be these grids. And let me center that. Let's show you the grids and why you may want to use it. Now, right now, each one of these grids are set at 1 inch here. You can go in and you can change your spacing on your grids to be set at what you want them to be set at. I like for mine to be set at 1 inch. Reason being is because how this says that this is 10 inches. I don't really use that so much. I use, if you have that turned off, you could use the grid so you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you count the grids, then you know, I don't know why I do it that way. I just do. Most people probably want to leave the numbers on there. I guess it just gets in my way, but um, leaving the dimensions on there would be a cool way for you, especially if you're beginning. So you can either show your rulers or not show your ruler, and then show your guidelines or not show your guidelines, okay? So, um, you've got ruler here at the top, and I believe that you can only see the ruler if you're using the designer edition. And this is the ruler up here. Okay, so that's to show the ruler. And then crosshairs, you see that? That's crosshairs. So if you want to see the crosshairs, um, I don't want to see any crosshairs. So most people will leave on this, and they'll leave on, most people will leave on the that guide right there so that they can know what they're doing with their paper. So, and this will also help you when you're using the if you're using the mat, you can count these squares. So that's a real cool feature for you to use that helps you know what you need. I'm going to leave it off. You can also, let me turn it back on for a second, because you can also do this as isometric. Now what that does is that will help you in the event, let's say you needed to curve something around one of these ways. Well, you get the idea. You can make sure that you're on that straight line, okay? So that will help you in that case that you needed to do something like that. And then you have spacing, and we went over the spacing. And then this just changes the colors, the color of the lines. So you can make your lines yellow, you can make them green, you can make them blue, you can make them purple, whatever color that you want your lines to be, you can make them. And then this little button here on page setup, the little third tab, that's for your registration marks. Now in the older versions of Silhouette, you had a couple of different options for the registration marks, and I see that they've taken those off of here, so it's not giving me any options for different types of registration marks, but it does give you the option to change the size of the registration mark, whether you're going to make it a little bitty registration mark or a thicker one. I like a 1/2 inch registration mark, and whether you want it thick or thin, whatever you want, and just go in and just set that. Now on the inset, I'm going to take that all the way out. The inset, you see that deals with, if your inset is in here, that means that your optical eye is going to go around and it's going to see where to cut. Like if I was cutting this Latana or this Lady Boss out in for a dark shirt, it would go around to this optical eye, and this would be on the outside, so it wouldn't cut. So what I like to do is, it's still not going to cut. Well, it will cut afterwards because I'm going to open it all the way up. So what I like to do is I like to turn my inset all the way down as much as I can. Now remember, you got a 15-inch mat, and you're only going to be able to cut so much. Now, of course, I don't have that page set up, or I've got that page set up at 12 inches take that back over there. I put in 15, but it brings it to there. Okay. Now, let's change the inset. So I've got the inset all the way out. So that's going to take me to where it's going to cut that 14.6. I would probably not try to cut anything over 14.5 inches. I'd probably keep it at 14.5 or 14.25. You've got some advanced features here, and this is just showing you the left inset, top inset. Now notice that all of these numbers are the same until you get to this bottom inset. And I don't really know why, but the bottom inset will not go below this one. Okay, it won't go below. But so what you can do when you're designing and you need it to go further than that, make this be like 20 on your sheet size, and then you'd be able to adjust that there on that bottom, on the bottom inset, because now if I only need it to be, sorry guys, if I only needed that to be like 15 inches or so, I could come up, right? Okay, so hopefully that helps you. The only other option you have with the rinds, with the registration marks, is the default or inverted in this version. I'm not too sure that I like that. I like the old options, but that's fine. And then you've got something here about encoding, enabling a barcode, and that's for says you can enable a barcode that requires you to have the silhouette 3. So I'm guessing that that feature is no longer available. So that is the page setup. Moving on down, if you have PicScan, maybe we'll do a video on this where you can, if you have PicScan downloaded on your phone, you can take images and scan them and then into your PicScan, and then you can import those into the silhouette. That's real cool for when you're doing backgrounds and things like that, and I'll go over that in a later video. This button here, sorry, not button, but the fill tool has all of the different types of fills, colors here. And let's see if I right click it. Nope, if I right click it or left click it, it does the same thing. So we got that. And I'm going to show you, you can stretch letters too. Okay, so you can stretch letters when you're in here and you're doing stuff. You don't have to keep it the same font size that, that it traditionally is. So you could, go in and you can stretch it. You can also do fades and gradients. Now, if you're using the cutter um, to cut out regular vinyl, you wouldn't want to use this fade or gradient. But one thing that a scenario of a time that you would want to use it is if you're doing like a print and cut type of job where it's going to cut out this and then you could have that full color that you wanted, or if you're doing a heat transfer print, like a light color heat transfer print, then you would be able to actually get those fades when you print the design out. So just keep that in mind. And then you have here, you have some types of fills. And you've got, so here we've got, this is one I put in, a kind of a paisley fill. And then we can do some advanced things with it. Where you could scale it, make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want. So that kind of changes the look of it. And then you can also work with the adjust the transparency. Like I said again, this would not be if you're cutting regular vinyl, but this could be something that would be really cool if you were doing printing cut or just a regular heat transfer. You can also save your own patterns in here, and these are patterns. This is one that I had in here, which is a zebra pattern, and we'll go through that a little later in maybe in another video. I will go in and show you how to do patterns, just pretty much going through the let's go here and change the color. Okay, so this is referring to the line style, the thickness, the corners, and all of that stuff. So this is what that deals with, your lines and the line style. Okay, and then you have your trace tool, which your trace tool is your vector imaging tool. So if we had a image that we wanted to trace, this isn't an image, but if we wanted to trace that as a solid fill, that would trace over this image. This the vector tool in Silhouette is really, really good. It's in some instances better than the vector tool in Corel. It really does. They really took time to really get a good trace off of this. So the vector tool is really, really good, which is what they call the trace tool. And you've got a couple of different ways that you can trace. You can trace just the outer edge or trace and detach an image. We'll go through all of this stuff a little bit more in detail as I'm doing designs. You can also trace by color, and you can do what's called a magnet trace, and I won't get into that right now, but as you just go in and play with this stuff. Here we've got some different image effects. This is for when you've got images in, how to change your brightness and contrast and all of that stuff. This stuff here you would use for when you're doing heat transfers. When you're doing a heat transfer, you're going to print and do a printing cut. Otherwise, if you're just doing vinyl, you don't need to be messing with the hues and the saturations and all of that stuff. So this area here would just be specifically for when you are printing something and doing a printing cut. We've got text right here, and so let me click on this. This will give you the name of the text, of the font that you're using, and the points, how big it is. And you can go down here with this text over here. Now, I'm going to show you, I like this little stroll bar here. You can also get your text from up here, and you can't push the button to scroll down. Like how you normally can in most programs where you can page down. You can't page down from up here. Let's see. Yep, I can't page down from up there. But I can page down from right here. And let me, for some crazy reason, you can hit the page down arrow and you can just navigate through the fonts. But I've had a hard time doing it from up top. And let's try it one more time. Nope, there, see? Yeah, it just doesn't work up there. But it will work over here on the side if you page down. So keep that in mind. And that'll just kind of, help you out. Basically, everything that's over here in this menu is up here or in these panels. All of the panels that are here, The same information is up here. And it's really up to people. It's really up to people, what works for you. But so you can go the long way or you can go over here. You've got different stuff about making fonts bolder and things like that, and whether you want to center the font, different things like that, and your line spacing, which this design right here, let's kind of bring this down in here some. Okay, the computer's moving super slow right now. Sometimes it's the recorder. So you've got your line spacing where you can go either closer, and I don't know if you guys can tell, that may not be the best font for me to have it on to try to do the line spacing. See if you can tell where the lines are going. Let's go here to the character spacing. See how that changes. So that gives you kind of something that you can go in and mess with. And then this is a new something here that I have not taken the time to figure out. This font creator. This is new, so I'm not going to go over it because I don't know what it's all about right now. So I will study that and show you that in another video. You've got your center line. Bring something to the center. You can bring it here, horizontal, left, right, all of that type of stuff. Now, this stuff here, I rarely use it here, but what I do is I'm normally up top up here using stuff. So where I can bring it to the front, bring it to the back of different things that I'm doing and do what's called welding or doing offsets, and we'll go into that in just a minute. So like I said, a lot of things you have over here and you also have them up here. I'll come back to the welding because I want to go down in a line with this. This is the duplicate tool. I've already welded that, guys, and I wasn't trying to. So if you want to go back, you can see this undo. I'm just going to hit this and go back. Okay. So hit that and go back. Okay. Now, let's just put some color in here, and up here, you can use this color chart here, or you can go over here. Like I said, it's kind of weird the way that they created it, where you have, more than one place that you can go in and choose fonts and things like that, but it does give you some options on what it is that on how you want to do it. So I've got that set up, and let's go here. This is the duplicate. So I can duplicate this same thing. You see it went over to the right. I can duplicate it to this way. Let's go in, hit undo. I can hit that to fill the page with whatever I've got. So these are all, this all will help you to duplicate your designs when you need to do like 3 or 4 of the same thing instead of you hitting copy and paste and copy and paste. That's what this will do. And then, of course, you can mirror your images and things like that. Let's go back. Okay. And then we've got this, which is weld, subtract, and crop. Now, welding will join your font together. And I'm going to change the font to something cursive. If I can find, my eyes are kind of bothering me. Hopefully, let's see here. Nope, I wasn't trying to do that. I just want to change the font. Oh, this is no longer a font, guys. That is now curves because I created an outline. So let's go Lady PrintBoss and just go in here and change this font and show you what welding is. Find a font here. Let's go down. See if we can type in script. SCRIPT. So you can type in script into there. We'll go ahead and just change that to black. Okay. Now I'm going to push this down. Now, what I want to do is view this, and let's see how I can view this. And go here to send, as if we're going to send this over to the cutter, and that's not going to show me what I want to show you guys. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to take this color off and make this be no color. Okay, so that you can see. Now, do you see these points here? When you go in to cut, this is what's going to make you a pro versus a rookie. Okay, I see this all the time with crafters, and what they do is they don't link this stuff together, and that's what makes your shirts look like garbage. So you got this, because what will happen is this will cut, and then it'll go back and cut the A, so you'll have these cuts. These cuts will affect your print quality. It'll also affect your job, with you peeling and picking, picking your design. So if you go up here to weld, to this tool up here, and you hit weld, you see how that makes one continuous line and makes anything that's touching is now welded. Let me undo that so that you can see it. So instead of the cutter cutting and then stopping at the B and then doing the O, then stopping, then doing the S and stopping, it's going to, when we click that, it's going to do one continuous cut line. That's going to be so much cleaner and so much prettier when you end up doing that design. So keep that in mind. That's one thing that you would really, really want to use a lot. The cut feature, let's see what else. So we were down here and we were at weld, and you can get to weld here also. Okay, and then you've got subtract all, intersect, and divide, and I'll let you guys go in and play with that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull something in and show you. I'm going to use this merge feature, and let's just pull in, oh, I don't know, try to find a picture, I guess. Well, we could have went in and pulled, okay. let's just go to the library and pull something out of the library. Let's see here. I just don't see anything that I want to use. Okay. That would have been good. Okay. Let me go back over here to design, and we just take okay, take a square, okay, and I don't really want to use that for what I'm trying to do. Let me think, guys, for a quick second, because what I want to do is bring in a pattern. Okay, so let me use this square, and we'll go in here like this, because, okay, this is a pattern that is, for some reason, it's just opening up like that. I guess I've got this selected up here, but if it wasn't selected, you can go in here to these patterns and pull out a pattern. Okay, let's use this one. And I'm going to move that down. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to say send it backwards. I just want to send it all the way to the back of the layer. Okay. And of course I want to stretch it. And here we go. Okay. So now I'm going to select this font, or my group of fonts here, and I'll show you what you can do with this crop tool. So if I hit that crop tool, what that crop tool does is actually what we call power clipping in Corel. I'm really not a silhouette person, guys. I'm a Corel person, so I'm going to teach you guys who are following me in Corel how to do things according to the name that it is over there, and show you what it's called over here. It's crazy that it's called cropping over here, but that's what it's called. So that would be, you see how you could do a really nice print and cut design using this thing here, um, using that tool, the crop. So that would be really cool. And we're going to go ahead, we're just going to leave that there and go into this offset tool. And right now we don't have anything to offset selected. So let's see if the offset tool will work on this, since we have cropped it. Now you see that offset tool, what it does is it puts another outline. So ideally, if I was going to actually print this on a shirt, let's say that I'm going to print this on a black shirt, or a black shirt, I would probably want to have an offset on there. And this offset, you can make it larger or make it smaller. Okay, so it just depends on what you want. So I'm put a 1-inch offset on all of this. Just going to grab it all at one time and do the offset, and take that. Want that at 1 inch, because the other one is at 1. So I want that offset there to be at 1. also okay, so that is the offset. Okay, so then apply that. Now what I'm going to do is where that offset is I'm going to take, oops, sorry, I'm going to remove this over here, and let's fill this offset. I would normally fill this offset with white, but I'm going to fill it with a yellow fill so that you guys can see it. Okay, just so that you can see it. I'd probably print that with a white, and let's see here what I'll do. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Do a black background, and let's say that is our shirt. And we're going to take this and send it to the back. Let's send it all the way to the back of the layer. Okay, so that is the back. So you see how that offset is? If you were printing this in black, on a black shirt, you wouldn't just want this to be like this. You'd want to maybe take this and maybe put that white behind it. I'm just trying to make sure that I could select that. Okay. Okay. So now that I have this design like this, I could go in and I could print this and put this on a shirt. What I would do is, now I would not try to cut this out in vinyl with all of these different pieces. And even if I wanted to, let me show you what would happen over here. Is it's not going to cut all of those pieces in vinyl. It's just going to cut that outline. Now that's on there, and I'd have to go in and fix that. But let me show you. This area that I cropped is not the colorful letters. That has not been traced. So you would have to actually go in and trace that if you wanted to do it as a what am I saying? As you'd have to actually go in and trace that if you wanted to print that out in vinyl. Okay, so let me go right here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take off. Well, no, I'm going to leave that on, and then this would be a good way for me to show you the advanced. And under advanced, let me zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Bring that bottom inset in all the way. Go up here to this page and kind of bring that height down to about, let's say to about there. Okay. So if I was doing a print and cut with this, this would be pretty much what I'd be doing. Um, on a print and cut. And let's see if that inset, see what all of this here is. You can take all of this here and you can group it. Okay, now I'm going to go in. The height is 11. Show the print border. You would want to show your print border, and you would want to go in here, and then the first thing you would want to do is go in here, set this up. Well, before you do that, you have to make sure that this whole design is within, this Lady PrintBoss is within this square, right? So what I want to do is make sure that that is the case. This is 14, and I need to make sure that 14.6, that's the largest that that will print. So here we are, we're in here. So I've got this to where this will print, and I could go in, just for the sake of the video, I could go in and I could bring this bottom registration mark up. I'm going to go ahead and bypass that because I'm trying to save some time since the video is so long. Now you see you've got this print border, so that means if this is going to be 14 inches wide, I would have to be printing this on a really wide printer. Otherwise, I could go ahead and turn that paper so that, you know, if I got a 8-inch printer, 8-inch print, or what? Let's see if I got a 14-inch print and then it's 8 inches here or something like that. You know, you just go in and just figure that part out. Go in and make that print a little smaller just for this. So I'd go in, configure my printer, and I would print this out. I'm going to take that line off. But I would make sure that all of this is within, you know, the point that I needed it to be. And then I would print this out on the sheet of paper. Once I printed this out, I just don't know how I'm getting that to go that wide. Okay, there we go. I want this to be 14 inches. Okay. So normally this would only print out probably about, you probably only need this to be about 9, 10 inches tops. Okay, so once you print this out, this would print out on your sheet of paper with the registration marks. Then you would put this sheet into your cutter, and you would hit this and go over here to send, and see how that is. That's cutting only so much. So you would want to go back in here, and I don't know why that's on there. Okay, but I'm going to just leave that on there. Go back over here and see. So we've got this here. And I'm just going to, for the sake of the video, just not even worry about that right now. But I will go back in and get that together for you. So you've got whether you want to do it on the fill. I'm going to say fill. So what this is going to do is just basically, there we go. Now it's showing the whole thing. Just cut out that outline. Okay. That's just going to cut out that outline. Okay. So you got the pattern, you've got the outline. See, now that is the white right there. And do you want it to cut the white or not? So let's go over here. That's showing you one way. Go back over here to simple. Simple will show you everything, how it's cutting the two lines, which would be cutting the regular outline and the white line. And this is showing you that it's just cutting the black line. And then this way is showing you the fill. So right here, it's just cutting the design. And if you turn this on, it should cut the outline too. And then you've got your layers over here, so you could see the outside and the inside. And this is really only one layer. But if we had a couple of different layers, it would show us different layers. And it should be two different layers actually. Well, if we did it here, for some reason that white is not coming up as a different layer. So let me come over here, and I got a feeling that, okay, let me ungroup this, that the white's not showing up because of a reason. It doesn't show up on something, then let's just make this, for the sake of getting through the video, make it orange. Just to show you guys. It's not picking up that it's color. But gotta be careful sometimes. Okay. Now, okay. I know that this must be getting confusing. Okay, so here we go. I want to bring this in because I want to make sure that you guys see it. So you see the red that's cutting just that outline. See, the pattern fill is not getting cut. This is the outside of the line. So you can see the red that's going to cut the outside of that line. Okay? So if you just want to just cut the outside of the line, which would probably be what I would want to do, and not cut the pattern fill. It depends on what you're doing. If I was doing this whole thing where the red, I'm sorry, where the orange was going to be white, let's say I'm using a white printable vinyl, then I would just cut this out and then sublimate this colored print on top of it. So it just depends on the print method that you're using and how you're doing it. I'm pretty tired. It's kind of late, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video and come back in tomorrow and show you guys some more stuff, okay? Don't print that like that because that's ugly. But just showing you, so that you can kind of see some different things that are going on, some different things that you can do in this program. I kind of like that yellow behind there. Okay. Alrighty, y'all. Thanks for watching, and I will come back with another video, and pretty soon we'll get some prints, some actual prints done on the Silhouette Cameo.